you ever open up YouTube late at night, just scrolling for something real, something with a bit of substance, and then suddenly a pastel-colored anime girl is screaming in your face about Minecraft? That's VTubers, in a nutshell at least. Loud, exaggerated, repetitive. 1,000 identical voices trapped in the same squeaky loop, each one trying to out-yell the next. And I've tried to understand it. I really have. But the more I watch, the more it feels like an endless carnival of noise pretending to be personality. Let's start with the obvious. VTubers are loud. They treat microphones like punching bags. Every emotion is maxed out. Shock, joy, fear. Doesn't matter. It all gets the same over the top screaming. If a zombie shows up in a game, you don't get tension or suspense. You get, oh my god guys, it's a zombie. Yes. We know. We saw it too. You know what? We also heard it. VTubers have the strange habit of narrating the most basic things. Oh my gosh, I'm walking down the hallway. Oh chat, I found the door. It's like watching someone describe a movie while it's playing. The irony is, this isn't just filler. It's pretty much survival for these people. When you live off engagement metrics, silence kills retention. If they stop talking, people click off. So they talk endlessly about nothing. It's not commentary anymore. It's a fear response. A kind of performative chatter to keep the algorithm from forgetting they exist. And that's the most depressing part. It's not that they're dumb. It's that the system rewards pretending to be. Let's talk about the act. The dumb persona. The teehee, I can't find the jump button personality. It's become a performance archetype at this point. Soft, high-pitched voice, constant giggling, pretend to be confused by basic things. It's infantilization as entertainment. The problem is, it's not authentic. It's deliberate. The dumb, cute act is engineered because it sells. Viewers don't want confidence. They want vulnerability. They want something that feels approachable, harmless, and submissive. Something that won't challenge them. So you get an endless supply of digital girls who act like they've never opened a settings menu before. Because being smart doesn't sell. Being adorable does. And that's not just sad, it's revealing. It says a lot about what audience rewards. We don't value wit or depth. We value the illusion of innocence. Now, let's go deeper. Why do they all look and sound the same? Every VTuber has the same over-designed anime aesthetic. Pastel colors, big eyes, frilly outfits, and maybe some cat ears stapled on. Their voices all hover in the same artificially high range, soft, breathy, and all such. They're clones, visually and tonally, because they're uncreative. Not because they're uncreative, but because sameness is safe. It's brandable. The designs are optimized for marketability, not individuality. They're made to be instantly recognizable and inoffensive. The digital equivalent of a mascot that never grows old or gets tired. In a way, they've built a world where uniqueness is a liability, because standing out, truly standing out, means being unpredictable. And unpredictability doesn't monetize well. So, what you get instead is a sea of familiar avatars, all smiling the same, or screaming the same, or pretending to be unique while looking exactly like everyone else. It's the illusion of diversity wrapped around a machine of repetition. here's where it gets interesting. A VTuber isn't just a character, they're a mask. And behind every mask is someone who doesn't want to be seen. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. The idea of wearing a mask to express yourself is ancient. Theatre, art, mythology, humans have always used personas to say what they couldn't as themselves. But VTubing doesn't free people, it traps them. Because the mask doesn't just hide the creator, it actively replaces them. The person becomes secondary to the avatar, the real identity fades into the background, while the digital one gets worshipped. And once that happens, you're not expressing yourself anymore. You're maintaining a character for an audience that expects consistency even when you're miserable. The philosopher Kierkegaard said, "The greatest hazard of all, losing oneself, can occur very quietly in the world, as if it were nothing at all." That's what VTubing often feels like. A quiet erosion of self. A person disappearing behind their own creation. So why do people do it? Why step into the digital theatre of repetition and noise? I'd like to suggest a few reasons. Some want to perform without being judged for how they look. Some want community. Some want to escape. All understandable. The internet promises a version of yourself that can't be hurt. But that's the problem. It's not you. It's a puppet version of you. It's the safe version, the marketable version. You don't get to fail as a VTuber because you can't be awkward or uncertain or imperfect. Because the whole performance is built on selling an idealized version of a person who does not exist. And when that starts to blur with who you are, you lose something human in the process. Now, there's a saying in philosophy, the mask you wear long enough becomes your face. That's what scares me about VTubing. It's not that they're hiding, it's that eventually they might forget who's under the mask. The biggest tragedy of all is that the system rewards this. The loudest, most exaggerated personalities rise to the top, the thoughtful ones sink, buried underneath algorithms that crave constant dopamine spikes. You don't succeed in VTubing by being interesting. You succeed by consistently stimulating the general audience, that is, of course. That's the real problem. It's not talent. It's not endurance. It's who can act fake happy for 10 hours straight. Who can scream the loudest without going hoarse? Who can act dumb enough to keep the chat typing? It's performance as survival. And when you base your identity on attention, you end up performing even when no one's watching. That's not creativity, that is exhaustion disguised as enthusiasm. Of course, none of this happens in a vacuum. The audience feeds it. Fans idolize these avatars, sometimes to a disturbing degree. Entire communities form around these fictional identities, defending them, obsessing over them, sending money to them like they're saints of the digital age. And when the person behind the avatar inevitably slips up, because they're human, they will slip up, says something unfiltered, shows a bit of their real self, it's treated like a betrayal. Because they're not allowed to be real. That's the irony of it all. These streamers built careers on the illusion of authenticity, only to find that being authentic is what kills them. The audience doesn't want the person, they want the performance of a person. VTubing, at its core, is the aestheticization of emptiness. Empty. I don't think most VTubers start out fake, but fakeness is what pays. They start streaming for fun, then the audience grows, expectations rise, and suddenly they're not performing for happiness. Their voice hurts, their face tracking breaks, their mental health slips. But they keep smiling because the avatar never frowns. It's the perfect metaphor for the digital age, smiling while falling apart, because the algorithm can't tell the difference. And when it ends quietly. No one remembers the person. They just remember the character, if even that. At the end of the day, I don't hate VTubers because they're loud or dumb. I hate what they represent. They've become the final form of online entertainment. Pure stimulation, stripped of sincerity, a performance of personality without any person left inside. And yeah, I know there are good ones out there, sure. The rare few who use the medium to say something interesting, to build something creative, but they're the exceptions in a system designed to drown them out. Because in this space, being genuine is a disadvantage. VTubing isn't the disease, but it is the symptom. It's what happens when the internet becomes a stage where everyone's performing for everyone else all the time. You can't just be anymore. You have to present. You can't just feel. You have to exaggerate it. You can't just exist. You have to sell yourself as content. The VTuber is the logical endpoint of the mindset. A fully marketable human, stripped of flaws, built for endless consumption. It's entertainment that's forgotten what it means to be human. So yeah, I hate VTubers. Not because they're anime avatars, or because they're women or men or whatever. I hate them because they've become symbols of everything shallow about modern content creation. They're loud because silence doesn't get clicks. They state the obvious because real insight doesn't trend. They act dumb because sincerity does not sell. Behind the colors, the cute voices, the constant energy, there's just exhaustion and noise. Maybe that's the real tragedy. In a world full of ways to express yourself, people are choosing to become something less real. And we, as the audience, reward them for it. The philosopher Nietzsche once said, "Man is a rope stretched between the animal and the Superman. A rope over an abyss." Maybe VTubing is what happens when we stop walking the rope and start decorating it instead. If I wanted to watch something real, I'd rather listen to someone talk. Voice cracks, pauses, flaws and all. At least then, I know I'm hearing a human being. Not a mask, not a noise machine, just a person.